I've been saying basically since I got this car that I don't like those wheels. Well, let me rephrase that. I don't like these wheels on this car. I test fit them on the Monte Carlo the other day, and it actually looks pretty good. I didn't think I'd like it, but I kinda did. If I do sell them, somebody already has dibs on them, so don't be hitting me up for them. And yeah, we've been doing a bunch of work to this thing lately. Got this thing all torn apart. Got the new Copo cam in it. I teased that on Instagram, and you saw it in the last video if you watched it, where we built the engine for the big wheel Delta 88. We pulled the cam out of this to use in that 6.0. This is also a 6.0, but it has 5.3 heads to boost compression a little bit. We're just slowly making progress on everything. I'm not actually sure if this drain's gonna work, which is a bummer, but you know, it is what it is. Might have to make one where the drain's like down here more, or I can just, I don't know. We'll figure something out for that. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. This video is about the wheels and tires for the Firebird. Now, like I've said, not a huge fan of these on this car. These are Weld Racing wheels. But I am a fan of these Jegs spiked wheels. And they had a sale going on the other day, and I just could not pass them up. And they are relatively light. I mean, they're not the lightest thing in the world. I bet those ones are a lot lighter. But they're not heavy. And because this is F-body, they are 15 by 10 with a 7.5 back spacing to try and get them to tuck pretty good. I do think, because I did test fit it, I mean that's why these lug nuts are all loose. I did test fit it on there, and it looked really good. I'm going to have to massage a couple things, and I might still put like a little spacer there just to give a little bit of wiggle room. So there's no sense in dragging this out any longer than it has to be. Let's get everything loaded up, get these wheels pulled off the car, and head over and see if they'll even fit on the tire machine. Alright, just got to Pops' shop. You can see Jack sitting here waiting patiently for his big block. Let me show you why this might be a hand-operated job for that tire. This is what we're working with for the tire machine. Now, this thing works great. It really does. But when this thing was new and like in service, 17s were huge for it. So, we're probably, like the threads for this don't start until down here. So we're probably gonna end up using some pry bars for the rear wheels. And then here are the ones that I want to use for the front runners. Might not be using these, but these are actual Sportsman front runners. Yeah, I might just end up having to run these ones again, because I thought these ones were a little taller and a little narrower.
Well, they probably would be once they were aired up.
Yeah, I mean, we can try it on one. They're not the same.
Nobody's running fit.
No. You know, I actually think the ones off that would fit. I think those are the same.
What, big tires?
I think they would work. Jegs does make these wheels in that bolt pattern now.
Yeah.
We should be able to use the tire machine to dismount the old wheels. Alright, got the front runners done. Did end up using the Mickey Thompson Sportsmans, and they ended up being a little bit taller than the wheels that, or the tires that were on it. Had to use some rubber valve stems for these because the metal ones, the nut couldn't get in like this weird chamfer there. They look good though, but the metal ones did fit on the rears, which is nice. Damn, that went a long ways. And 3, 2, 1. There she be. No problem. Alright, that one's all done. Looking sick. About to do this one. Alright, tires are mounted. Alright, it is much later in the day, but we are back at my place, ready to test fit these wheels, get a couple lug nuts on it to hold all the wheels in place, and then we'll drop it down and see how it looks. Got a couple lug nuts in all the wheels. You can see, maybe you can see, right there where I gotta trim it a little bit. Let's drop it down, see how it looks. I'm really curious how the front's gonna look too. Man, that does look way better. Let's close the hood and the hatch and get the full picture. Oh, fuck yeah, dude. That's gonna look so good, especially once the car's lowered more. But look how much better that fits. Like, that's so much better. Let's see how it looks over here. Ages better. Holy crap. Oh, that looks good. Yeah. It's real hard to look past how tall it's sitting right now and see, like, the good looks. But the front, I mean, you know, we're on coilovers with those. We can just drop them. And then the back, something we're going to throw in it tomorrow, is these BMR springs. So that should get the thing sitting really good. So I'm gonna go in, warm up for the night, and then in a few seconds for you, a few hours for me, we'll come back out here, get the lowering springs thrown in it, and finish this video with this car looking, hopefully, pretty good. All right, it is the next morning, and we are about to try to tackle the altitude on this thing. Let's get it back up in the air, and we'll start throwing the lowering springs in it. All right, got the wheels off, and you can see kind of what we got going on in here. I'm basically just going to take a Sawzall and cut this bump stop pad off, and obviously I got to reroute the fuel lines because this is not the ideal situation. You can actually see up here where it was rubbing a little bit, the way the car was. So I don't know why they didn't route it in here, perhaps. Like, sure, it gets close to the spring, but it can't actually come in contact with it. And then they could have brought it inside this lip all the way. I don't know. I didn't do it. So, like I said, I'm going to cut this bump stop pad off, hammer it in a little bit. I might massage in here too, and then take this fuel line off. Do the same thing on the other side. And then for the springs, just got to disconnect the bottom shock bolt, let the rear end droop to get the spring out, put the new one in, shocks back on, and then, you know, we're good to go. So let's get to work on that. Got the wheel back on to test fit again. You can see with that piece cut out of the way, there's a good ½ inch of clearance. I might still try to pound it in a little bit more. So the only spot it's hitting is at the front there, right up here. So I'm gonna try and make a mark on that and beat the heck out of it. Alright, everything's clearanced out of the way. Got the fuel line out of here. This screw actually would not come out. It just kept wanting to jump, so that sucks, but I'm just gonna hammer that flat, not worry about it. Everything else seems to be fine. Smacked the heck out of this. Did the same thing on the other side. Other side's all good to go. So it's looking like all that's left back here, suspension and wheel and tire wise, is take the car up a little bit. Gonna get the tranny jack under the rear end, take some pressure off it, pull the shocks off, and get the springs out of there. Alright, got both springs out. There you can see the resting difference. So now, just going to get the BMR ones thrown in there. I might, because I'm real ignorant and I like my things low, I might leave the isolators out for this first test fit and see how everything looks, because, I mean, fucking oil pan. Alright, shocks are bolted up, rear end's all good to go. So now we're going to throw the tires on, drop the car down, and see how she looks. I got a feeling I'm gonna have to put those isolators back in it, but gotta try it. Alright, I ended up having to disconnect the lower like traction bar link arm because it was binding up the rear end, just because of the way these rear ends are designed. But once I did that and lowered it back down, the thing is sitting so good. Holy crap. Like, now I need to lower the front a little bit, but that is, I would call that almost perfect, to be honest. That looks so sick. Now I need to bolt the traction bars back up, and I'm gonna set them in neutral. But man, that looks badass. I'd like to get a different oil pan before dropping it down to what I think is the proper height. Just that way I don't, like, if it does go wheels up, I know the first time I'll panic trying to pedal it and it'll come down, oil get all over the surface. Man, they fit so good. 15 by 10 with 7-inch back spacing is perfect, because I got that 1/2-inch spacer and these are 7.5 back spacing. And then we got the new front runners on it with the actual Sportsman tires off Lloyd's new big tire Malibu that he took off. And like I said, you can see the oil pan is pretty low. So once I drop this, the like 2.5, 3 inches that I'm gonna want it to be at to get rid of that gap, that oil pan is gonna be real close. Like, that might only have like 2.5 inches of clearance. So I think that's probably about gonna do it for today's video. We accomplished everything I set out to do. Got the wheels and tires mounted, got the new lowering springs in the back. Everything looks awesome. The car's getting pretty close. I mean, if I had all the parts, it's only like 3 days and the thing's all together ready to go. But, you know, dollar waiting on a dime. So like the heads just need the new springs. I'll probably throw new head gaskets in it, maybe. I don't know. Might just run these and see. And then put the whole top end back together. Need some new injectors, turbo drain, shifter, fuel system, and she's pretty much ready to go. So that is going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time.